Hello guys, so we are back on this week's book review. We're gonna review The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have my guest, Karlina Veras, who's an author as well. I'm here in her home and we're just gonna talk about this book that we've been reading for book club. So how did you find it?
Thank you so much for inviting me to your show. I'm so excited. Oh my God, so honored. How did I find it? I guess things are not as simple as I find it great or not. I think maybe we should start from the beginning.
Well, I'll tell you what I thought about it. To be frank, so, if you guys know about the book, it's about Nora, who has a chance to live, I think, 6 lives. She commits, I'm not going to tell you, but all the details, but she commits a bit of a suicide, if you want to say. She tries to commit suicide, and then she has the chance to, she gets transported into a library, and she has the chance to relive 6 of her lives. And there's many other things that happen in the book. I quite enjoy the first half of the book, I must be honest. I felt like it was a combination of Sophie's World, which is a philosophy book, meets Harry Potter. So I even stopped a little bit during the week because I wanted to savor it. But I must say that halfway through the book, I was not as excited. Things kind of crumbled a little bit for me. I feel like maybe I'm a quite, ¿cómo se dice? I'm a tough critic, and I, instead of getting excited as the book went by, I actually started feeling slightly disappointed. Why? Maybe the story became a bit bland. It was not as juicy as I thought it would be. It has really nice symbolism, really nice analogies, but I just followed the hype of the book. It's a bestseller. I don't think, for me, is a book that I would even gift.
Right. Ooh. All right. So I'm gonna first say what worked for me.
Okay.
And then maybe what worked, what didn't work, what needs improvement.
Yeah.
So for me, what worked, I thought the first pages really,
so nice.
worked really well. I even highlighted a few things. Like I liked the way the images, the way he described, especially in the first, not even half, like the first few pages, the descriptions, how he described how people are, how people felt, like at the beginning.
God, we've highlighted the first. We both highlighted the first sentence.
Oh my gosh!
We both highlighted it.
Okay, so the first sentence, 19 years before she decided to die, like the first.
That's amazing.
For me, that was really good because it was like, what the fuck? So we already know that she's gonna die or that she died.
Wait! It gave me huge reminiscence to Veronica Decides to Die by Paulo Coelho.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I see you, but I see you. So the good thing about reading a book is that you've read enough to know who he's referencing. Even if he says he didn't, I know he did.
No, he did, because of the whole feel of the book. It's
Veronica Decides to Die.
It has a Paulo Coelho vibe, yeah, absolutely, because it's also about positivism and being hyped and enjoying life.
So that's a good Paulo Coelho vibes here.
Yes, but in a good way, because also Paulo Coelho vibes in the bad way.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, as a as a reader and as a writer. But also one of the things that I liked, I just want to say, like little bits that I highlighted, was the way, like said the librarian, Mrs. Elm, her eyes glimmering like sunshine on frost.
Yeah, he did
like,
so well.
Like the beautiful, the images for me, how to actually picture things with words are beautiful.
Yeah. No.
But also the feeling about how you feel disappointment in life, when she said it was hard not to compare Mrs. Elm to her mother, who treated Nora like a mistake in need of correction. I was like, bam!
Yeah, no. The first half of the book is exceptional. It's exceptional. He really did. Like, there's so many things that I underlined. He says something. She didn't correct his knowledge on diamonds, which makes you remember a time in your life where you talked to somebody who didn't know anything, let's say, about books, and you didn't correct them. You gave them their space. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things there. In the beginning, I underlined so many things, like the silence went beyond awkward into something else. That's so deep.
Yeah.
First half, very enjoyable. After the first half, to be frank,
Yeah, but we're still talking about what works.
Yeah.
So hold on. And I know you're already worried about what doesn't work, and that's fine. But I want to talk about what works
Okay,
first.
yeah, let's do that.
And then, because you basically,
no.
said everything, which is fine. What works and is fine. But I want to first kind of hype the book in those things. I think what else worked for me? I liked a bit of magical realism.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, like the Harry Pottery thing, and also being, because it's not. The book is kind of weird because it feels almost like a, like YNA book, but it's not a YNA book.
Yeah,
but I think it almost feels, because it has that Paulo Coelho in Spanish, the Mexican Carlos Cuauhtemoc Sanchez.
It's
like
a
that
fable.
thing.
It's a fable.
So
right?
it is a fable, and it says here it's a beautiful fable. So in one of the reviews, but so I liked that idea. I liked the fact that. There's always, which is, she goes through a hero's journey, like Joseph Campbell explains. She goes through a hero's journey, and you have, when Mrs. Elma appears, and she appears from the beginning, you have this mentor type of thing.
Yeah.
So she is like a mentor to Nora, and it takes her through. So I like that. I also like the idea that for whether you like the book or not, it's a page turner.
Oh yeah, definitely a page turner.
In that way, I would take it, and I understand why it is a bestseller, because it's a page turner. You want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
Even
he does a good job doing that.
Even you go like, I'm not so sure about this, but I'm gonna keep on reading because I want to know what happens next, and that's a successful book.
Yeah,
in my opinion. What else did I like? I like the idea. Obviously, we have to bear in mind that this book was written, and maybe this could be the good thing, and then we can drop into what doesn't work as well. Because it was written during lockdown and published during lockdown, in a way.
2020.
Yeah, it's a book that wants to highlight depression, but also mental health issues, which is so important and also so crucial right now. What we're going through.
He's well known Matt Haig is well known for addressing all these mental health topics, and he talks about the different roads that her life could have taken, and it made me think about my life as well. How many different roads could I have taken? So it gives you that self-reflection.
Yeah.
So what if I would have ended up with that guy? Would I have been happy? What if I would have picked this job? And what if I would have done this and that? And would I've been disappointed? And it gives you a bit of comfort.
Yeah, and that's the good thing. And then at the end, what happens is that then she ends up appreciating her life as it is.
Yeah, but don't give away the end. Don't give away the end.
No, but I'm not saying. But at the end, this is fine because.
Yeah. She does, yeah. You kind of say it.
I don't think I'm ruining any plot or anything.
No, you're not.
So yeah, that's what works for me.
So the question is, what is the best way to live? That's basically what the book asks. What is the best way that you could live your best life? And she gets the opportunity to sort of choose
and try,
which is what I think the moral of the story is the best way to live is to live, period.
And to be yourself.
Yeah.
Because there was one of the things that the whole reason when she went through all these different lives, she was trying out other people's dreams.
Yeah, that's true.
And she
her mother's dream, her dad's dream, her brother's dream,
and she was
her boyfriend's dream.
What if I was this? What if I what if I did what my dad wanted me to do? What if I did what my brother wanted me to do? And every time it wasn't working out. And it meant that at the end we all have to choose our own path.
Exactly.
And we have to live who we are and be authentic to who we are as human beings. And that's why I thought it was beautiful. And I think that's why this book has gotten all the praise that it has, because it basically touches that human element and that philosophical question about who I am, where am I going.
It's an easy read as well. It's really
it's an easy read, and also
and for lockdown, it's like positive vibes and all this.
Positive vibe in a real way. Like we're talking from the beginning, like this person is fucked because she decided to die.
Yeah.
Like we're not like there's
he's not sugarcoating.
No,
this is not a surprise that she's going to. That she's
going to die. She decided to die. Immediately, I'm like, how she decided to die? I didn't know.
Yeah, you want to know. So he has really great signposting. So he tells you something's about to happen, which keeps you turning the pages. Now, let's talk a little bit, because we don't want to make this video too long. We already got 10 minutes in. What didn't work for you?
Okay.
And then we decide on how many stars we're gonna give. Dun, 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 dun.
Hello. What didn't work for me, it was that I felt that it was the whole thing about what was happening. It was a bit obvious. It felt, which is again, that's why I felt very even Paulo Coelho-ish, in the fact that I felt cheesy. It's nice in the fact of for all that we mentioned before, but but it's a bit obvious. It's a bit cheesy. It's a bit too on your nose. And for me, and for me as a reader, I want to be surprised a little bit more. And in all these different lives, something that we were discussing before this video is that as soon as something juicy was about to happen, then she's out. And then it's like, it doesn't give
you... It's like Girl Interrupted.
Yeah, it's like, but Girl Interrupted is much better.
Of course, I mean, like in the sense that she interrupts the story. But I also think that maybe, just maybe, he did it on purpose. So he interrupted every story because that's what suicide is. It interrupts your life so that you don't have the opportunity to finish what could have been. It could have been great, could have been bad, but you just interrupt.
But because also the whole point, remember that we're going through this, she's going through these different lives, and the idea is that if she likes a life, she can stay there. But it's also really weird because she's going through these lives and she remembers that she's not from that life. So as soon as she feels that disappointment, it's going. But the thing is, that's not life. Life is when shit goes really bad, we're not going to another life. You have to bear it and deal with it, and I guess that's what it's teaching.
The fantasy part of it as well. Like you enjoy it. Like, what if I could do that? And blah, I'm out of this life.
And I guess it's a negative thing because as a reader, I want to feel more, but at the same time, like you say, I understand what you're saying. That it's probably
interrupt that.
And he did that on purpose because he's trying to kind of show that. That maybe through the whole plot that she's trying different things, but that I just
can I ask you just which one was your which life did you like the most? She has 6 or whatever. I mean, there's a page where she has a zillion lives.
That she does different.
That's I think he went in.
She said I did this, I did that. Which life did I like the most? I really, maybe because of who I am, I really liked a lot the life that she was a rock star.
Okay.
That was a life that she kind of explained a lot. Like I could feel that she was
successful. She's got so many followers on Instagram.
Not only that, because in other lives she was also successful, but it's also that I could feel that life. I could feel like she
fame. That's the fame chapter.
What was happening? The fact that because he in that life. We stayed there for a little bit. So you get, and that's what I mean. Like you get to sense, the life.
That was a good chapter. I really enjoyed that.
And I think that was really good. And obviously,
she's at the hotel, and then the way it ends when she's.
But again, the way it ends because it's
really great.
She felt something that it wasn't a nice feeling, and as soon as she felt some disappointment, you're out. And but without saying what happens, but I think that was the best life. But there were all these different lives, and it is really interesting how she was like, and it does make you feel like.
What she says in this chapter, to interrupt you, she goes, "You can have everything and feel nothing." That's one of the tweets that she does as a famous person. So maybe he wanted you to not feel. Maybe.
But also to feel the fact that that as a famous person, people think, oh my God, that is so amazing. But there's so many layers in life, and no matter where you are in your career, or you could have like be a millionaire and live all privileged, and you still have shit that you have to go through. And I think that's what's nice that this every chapter chooses to explain that. In every life, once in a few of them she's poor, in others she's not. But there's always shit going on.
You gotta face different challenges. Depending. I also really like talking about from a writer's perspective. I really like the titles of the chapters. They're really cute. That's something I like.
That's true.
Some of them are like if something is happening to me, I want to be there. The fame. It doesn't really signpost what's gonna happen. But when you finish the chapter, you kind of
understand why.
You're like, oh wow, that's a great title for this chapter. So that I did like.
Yes, and you know what else I liked? That they were very short chapters.
Yeah,
Even the long ones are short.
Yeah.
And that's really nice because I find, and even I'm a writer, but I find that long chapters are intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And where the fuck is this gonna end? You know, and I'm like, what? It's already like, oh, well, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like initially, like a couple of pages, a page chapter, you're like, okay, you know, this is
Yeah, I can
doable.
do this. I can do this on lunchtime. I can do this in the train ride.
Or whatever. But no, but it's also like a breath of fresh air. You know? And then, but it is very easy read. It is very accessible.
I think it's very positive as well. Like it
is positive.
I like the idea of the regret, the book of regrets. Really love that. So she has a book of all her regrets, and I was thinking, if I were to write a book of all my regrets, how big would this book be, and what sort of life would each of those regrets lead me to?
But it also shows that the reason why you have a book of regrets is because you're not happy with who you are and the life that you're living. Because she had a massive book of regrets when she first came to the library.
And then
as soon as she kept living lives, as soon as she started changing in a positive way that she decided to live, then you don't have regrets, because all the good things and bad things that happen to you is for a reason.
Yeah.
And then I think one of the, you know, the morals of the story is that even failures and everything that you go through, you shouldn't regret them.
Yeah, they're part of
this. They're part of who you are, and they take you to the next step on your life.
And I was thinking that as I was reading the book, I was like, which part of my life would I regret? I'm like, I couldn't delete anything, because then I would never be here, and I wouldn't be experiencing and being the way that I am, and anything. So I was like, well, I don't think I have lived. I don't think I'm with no regrets. So in conclusion, to finalize this before we hit the 20 minutes, how many stars would you give this book? Wait, I'll say first my favorite chapter while you think about that. My favorite chapter, it's gonna be so corporate, but my favorite chapter was when she was an Olympian. She was, you know, it was a bit weird.
That was good. As soon as she woke up,
she's like aspirational to me. I'm like, okay, she's doing TED Talks, she's working out, she's in shape, she's got money, her brother's very happy, even though it's because of the money anyway. But there's it's also, her dad is with another woman. We're not going to get into the details, but I actually like that. She was probably the most unhappy there, but maybe I could relate my life to that. That's probably why.
Nice.
But that was one of the chapters I actually enjoy reading. It wasn't great, but probably if I were to choose out of all her lives, that's the one I would have chosen.
Oh, that's nice. You know what? A thing that I liked, and I wanted to see more about it. It was when she meets Hugo, which is
the romance part, right?
The other slider. That's and he says, and it's another guy like her that lives other lives and picks her up.
You know what I think? I think Hugo is in another of his books. I think it's probably How to Stop Time. I haven't read that, but I think he's a character of another book.
Interesting, but because in one of the things...
I could be wrong because I haven't read the other book, but I think he's a character of a new book or something.
Okay, in that chapter where they meet, he says to her, in another life we are married. And to be honest, I was hoping
I know
that we were gonna see that life.
Yes.
And we never see this life.
Yeah, it's exactly. And I actually thought he was gonna get into them. Like, okay, we're gonna get a bit of a romance
and maybe that would be good, because then it's like
maybe
developing on a plot of maybe a follow book, but it would kind of follow up on the plot.
I'm sure. If he doesn't, it leaves you for appetite. I don't think it would be silly not to. But how many stars out of 5?
All right. Do you want me?
Go first, please. And
I would say a 3.
Okay. It's hard, but I've given books 3 before. Because I enjoyed the first half so much, I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
and don't get me.
The first half was exceptional.
And the only reason why I gave a 3. I mean, there are so many lovely things about it, but the reason why I give it 3 is because I felt that the use of, apart from at the beginning a few things, but then towards the end, I don't have the magic, and I need to have a bit of kind of sparkle in the way things are
Yeah.
told and showed to me. It felt to me that
Very matter of fact, wasn't it?
towards the end it was very telling, and it was and it was
yes.
also very cheesy, even though that I know that that's what it meant to do, like be happy, and then it's like, but everything, it was just a bit obvious, and for the obvious part it just felt a bit like, oh
It was I wanted to finish it for the sake of, finishing it, and that's not great, because usually when you're really enjoying a book, you like, oh my god, I wanted to finish, I'm so enjoying this. So but I will give it a 3.5, just because the first half I really liked it. I was so excited. I thought, wow, I finally found a great book. But the second half of the book, it was good. There were many nice things, but it wasn't amazing.
yeah. And what we touched earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if this has already like a film deal or
Yeah,
anything.
for sure. It would be
Because
good
I
to see
feel
it, though.
I feel it'll be really good, and they'll probably change it a little bit. Like I would imagine this book would need a proper like if it's a film, it would probably be a romantic, like a rom-com.
You think?
Maybe a rom-com. Maybe the love is with herself. I think this book, the
Yeah.
love is with herself.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah,
there's
that's
gonna
true.
be
A
elements
chick
of
flick.
this.
A chick flick.
Yeah, but it's definitely like Wild, where Reese Witherspoon.
I've been reading a lot of chick flick books. I
Something
need to
like
change it up a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
what's in style now. That's what's trending.
But obviously the reason why I give a 3 is because I'm thinking in literary
Yeah, of
fiction,
course,
in a way,
ambitious
in
writing.
in a different way of the use of language and
Yeah, of
tone
course,
and all that
absolutely,
stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
in terms of commercial fiction,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
definitely is a 4
Yeah,
or
4,
5 because it's a page turner
Yes.
and it does what it needs to do.
Yes, these are honest reviews, guys. So these are people that read a lot of books, as you can see. And of course, we're comparing it with memoirs, with all sorts of genres and the repertoire of the different variety of things that we read. So I think for someone who's starting to read and they don't generally read, this would be a great pickup, because you will probably finish it very likely, because it's a page turner. It's easy to read. It's got all the elements. It's funny. It's interesting. It's got a bit of fantasy. But we are reviewing it from a writer perspective. From, like I said, we read a lot of other different types of books, and on that basis, it stays within the 3 range.
That's
it. That's right. So, well, nice reading this. High five. And book 5. And I'll see you guys for next week's review.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Marita. I'm so honored.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye, guys.